Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John, reporters for this 22nd. Well, we ended up with a pretty mild day, and then at the very end, there was a little bit of accelerated selling, and we got down to the ABM yellow, which is about where we're at right now, but still, shakeout's rising. So there was some weakness. It's just because there's almost like no volume, and gravity has a little bit more of an impact at times when there's just nothing happening. From a daily standpoint, we're actually moving below the red DOC with the cyan, which is a long indication, which is why you see the color green developing there. No other way to refer to it. That you already have the reset of the steel, which we talked about. So potential is for another decent up move. Now, obviously, it can reverse immediately and go back up, and that is pre-market. The day hasn't closed with it like that, but it's just a precursor just to keep us aware. ABM yellow for the NASDAQ, obviously right at the peak. So this little mild back and forth is nothing, really nothing to comment on because it's just more of the same. Now, the Dow is still continuing. It's pressed 19,941. Will it get there before the end of the year? This looks potentially like it can. I think that's the draw. Stabilization in euro, they're held it right there. This was, we were talking about they needed to get it back to that 104.5 point, which is right about where we're at right now. It still has resistance there, just a little bit above that coming forward, and you can see that orange is still caught between, but it's almost moving down here below the red DOC, and that would, if the steel comes back down, trigger a potential turnaround point and a little bit of support for buttons. Not really a whole lot of anything there, but you can see significant improvement from what was. So that's quite a dramatic improvement as far as the shakeout goes from we were in the minus 30 plus range, which was quite significant. So could be some additional support right there that people are finding that to be an attractive, which is crazy, but there are stranger things that have happened. Oil still holding up. It's not going to break out, I don't think, too much unless there's some real significant supply reduction that gets announced. It's just hard to imagine. I think you're pretty much just saying at a production level at this point. And gold still suffering weakness. This India thing is starting to get out of control. We're going to have to see how that impacts things. I mean, it's not it overtook Britain as the 6th largest economy in the world. So it's significant in that they're self-inflicting this is an interesting approach to doing business. Let's go to this 5K since that one's waiting for data for some reason. ES intraday, 5K. We had the little bounce that was the previous day, and then we sort of softened. I mean, it was literally just sideways action. I mean, look at how tiny this range is for an entire day. And then, boom, we ended up with the DOC spread that started to accelerate as we ended up with our orange popping in and out of the trend mode in there. But then once it stayed in here, and then it kept going, and it's pretty much stayed in that range. And so we're still stuck within there at this particular point, though we have rising extreme histograms, but we don't shake out. So that orange stain between the cyan and red indicating continuation is still accurate at this particular point. Always good to have that kind of information. That's the long and the short of it. It's pretty straightforward at this particular time. There's no whole lot, I think this kind of down move that was, good 8 or 9 points, all we've done is come back to the lows that are right over here. So it's just basically filled in this dip below the red line, which is exactly what we would expect them to do. So it just took a little while, and you had to wait for that sell signal to break out. It actually started back here, but that DOC wasn't clean until we ended up with the breakdown in the shakeout, and it started over here. So, as always, though, do you look for me on the Skype chat? Posted what was. There was just nothing happening, so there really wasn't a whole lot to put out there, but that's all we can do is just take what the market gives us and react accordingly. As always, trade well. We'll talk again later.